Hey everybody, I wanted to, I guess, throw out there like an alert slash update. Uh, I have a YouTube channel that's called 208 Original, and what I had originally intended to um, do on that channel was uh, provide information and education about a wreck that I was in during work, a vehicle accident during work, um, from working with an Amazon DSP. Uh, for legal reasons, I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but I think what I wanted to do was because here recently I've seen news about them expanding these operations into the Redmond area. I'm in Oregon, and it seems like always when there's fast and exponential growth of a business or a company, certain details get overshadowed with more important things where they shouldn't be, because safety should still be a concern with these companies. And again, I think what prompted me was just this urgency to get this out there, and hopefully, if you're one of the people who are thinking about applying for one of these delivery jobs with these Amazon DSPs that have come in, it's very tempting. They're offering a pretty good top wage to do that, to be a delivery driver. The benefits are all right. It depends. I've heard different stories uh, varying on which company that you get hired on with as to exactly how they operate. Some inside information that I'll share with you is that there's typically a great hiring increase during the holidays, because typically they do get busier, and what they don't tell you is you'll be in a van, some type of Sprinter van or a U-Haul van. That's where you have to start. And what they don't tell you is that van, if you can imagine, it's going to be completely full of packages. That's after you get through your training. That's what your days are going to look like. We're talking about, 5, 6, 700 packages, if you can imagine that. Which is neither here nor there. If you like to work, great. I'm just telling you, I'm trying to give you some inside information as to what it looks like. The other thing, this is what really prompted me to do this, was that if you're living in Oregon and you get hired for one of these jobs, some other inside information that's very important that everyone should know. Oregon. So I was hurt back in November of 2024 during training. It was my 4th day with a DSP. This whole story unfolds on my YouTube channel in these other videos, and that's what it's meant for, educational purposes. And here's why. It was my 4th day on the job. That particular day, they sent me out with what they called a driver trainer. This person was 23 years old, had only been driving for 3 years themselves. And that's what management decided to send me with. That wasn't a problem until I got hurt, because it was this person's fault that I got hurt. And that's where the rest of the story is going to develop from there. I was nosed into a driveway that I shouldn't have been, because it was impossible to get out while you're still to back out while you're still in the vehicle. Upon realizing this, I asked for help, which is what this person is there for. It's training, right? What I later found out by word of mouth through another employee at the same company, was that multiple people have gotten hurt on that particular stretch of road. Anyway, I was nosed into this driveway. It was dusk. I realized after I pulled in that I couldn't see to back out, so I asked him to clear me. If you're unclear what that means, it means I asked him for help to help me back out safely onto the road that we turned off of. Okay? I did not tell him what to do. I was relying on his abilities to make the right decisions to help me safely get out of that driveway and continue on with work. That's where the story changes. In Oregon is a no-fault state. That's something that's not advertised. They don't tell you that when you apply at one of these Amazon DSPs. But I'll fill you in right now and let you know what happened to me. What that meant for me was that when I got hurt because of his negligence, I did what I was supposed to do by using the resources that were there for me, which was workman's comp. I got hurt on the job. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day of how terrible that process and the majority of the people involved, I can't even begin to tell you how difficult this has been for the last 8 months. To get care, to get my pay on time, to get quality and competent people to help me through this process, to represent me in some way. In all facets of this experience, it's been extremely stressful. Anyway, back to my point of what I was talking about. Oregon is a no-fault state, which means that I can't sue my employer because they're covered by these laws. I can't sue them for negligence. Now, there is some attorneys out there that it's called, I believe it's called ELLs. That's the acronym for, basically what happened is a long time ago, before the workers' comp system was changed to what it is now, you could, under certain conditions, sue your employer. Some of those attorneys are still practicing that, but it falls under a very specific microscope about the situation and the terms that they will pursue for you and litigate for you based under these old laws. I hope that kind of makes sense. It's not really it's not advertised as an option. And the only reason I found out is because I kept talking to people, telling my story. But basically what it does is that the employer is protected under Oregon's laws so that you can't sue them. And because this employee that got me hurt is a full-time employee of the company who's protected, he's also protected. So when it gets into the, any types of restitution or anything like that, it protects the employer again, and because I already have a workman's comp claim open, workman's comp insurance wants to recover any monies that I may get first and be compensated for the care that they paid out for me. And they're still paying out for me to get well, which nobody's been able to do yet. Then you have your attorney, your workers' comp attorney, who gets their cut because I fired my first attorney for not helping me and his incompetence. Now he has to any recovery of money or anything like that. They have to split it because now I have a new attorney. It gets so stupid and ridiculous. And I'm asking people to trust me and take my word for it that this is not a situation that you want to end up in. I have had a ton of financial hardships because of this. It put me in a spot where I had to use a lot of my credit cards to stay afloat. And so anybody who knows what that's about, you know what it's about. And I took out a personal loan so that I could stay afloat. And basically what happens when you file a workman's comp claim, they take your wage that you were making at the company and they cut a third right off the top that you don't get. You only get 2/3 of your original amount of paycheck. I'm reaching out because I see this monster that people have created, and it feels like they've created, in my opinion, they've created it inside of Oregon because Oregon has accepted these terms to somewhat umbrella these businesses from being responsible and their culpability when something like this happens. And so they've made it a safe haven, if you will, or a certain utopia for these places to come in to keep the business side and the commercial side of the state growing, but they've given businesses a loophole to not be held accountable for when something happens like this. None of this was my fault. I did what I was supposed to do in asking for help. It was his poor choices or lack thereof that got me in this situation, but now I'm here, and the things that I learn, I'm going to tell people. And so that's my message today. You can go back and look at my other videos to see all the other information that has poured out and I've learned over the 8 months as it's come in dealing with, just every single aspect of that. I tried to put in those videos so that you know what this is about. But once you're stuck, you're stuck. And I started opening this claim process with workers' comp, and now none of the health professionals that I've seen who are in this pool of people to pick from out of workers' comp can figure out why I'm still in extreme pain in my back and now in my leg. There are some people working on it, but there hasn't been any results yet. Some new people working on it. I had to fire the whole team before that wasn't helping. And I have went through times of where I haven't received paychecks at all and nobody could tell me why. I've went through times where my original attending physician, who was a complete asshole, when I couldn't physically do what he wanted me to do because of the pain in my back and because he still hadn't addressed it yet, he started messing with my paychecks, my benefit checks. I lost my apartment. I lived in my car for a while. I've lived with family members and other people for a while. I haven't ate for a while. That doesn't even touch all the stuff that I've been through with up here in my mind because of being in pain for 8 months, and all the other things that I've had to deal with, financially and otherwise. So again, my message is to get out there this information that they don't share with you. That if you get hired to work a job in Oregon and you get hurt, somebody else hurts you who's supposed to be training you, you're screwed. That's what I'm telling you. You're screwed. The company has been terrible in keeping in contact with me. There's all these rules inside of the process that my attorney cannot talk to my employer. I can't talk to the claims adjuster because of legal reasons. And not only that, but what you're going to find is a whole bunch of people inside this process who don't talk to each other, trying to find out, what's going on with my paychecks, and I get the runaround, and so I have to dump that back on my attorney. There's, from what I understand, 3 sets of hands after I have a visit in the medical office. There's 3 sets of hands that these paperwork has to get through before a check can even be issued to me. That's if there's no problems with whatever else is going on that I don't know about. And that's how it is. You try to find out information about what's happening or what's not happening, and you get the runaround all the time. Boy, I would give it a serious thought, because based on the position this has put me in, which has been terrible, and I don't see any end in sight anytime soon, I would not apply for a job in Oregon at all. And I know that sounds on the extreme side, but I'm asking you to really think about the implications of applying for a job in Oregon because of these laws that people don't know about. They don't tell them about this when you go and apply. And like I said, if there's any negligence on the employer's part, you're going to find out real quick that the laws in Oregon protect them from being sued. So, again, it makes me nervous because I just seen that they're planning on expanding up into Redmond, Washington, and I'm not sure if it's the company who I was working for. I'm still tethered to that and that company because they have to. But let me tell you, that doesn't mean that they haven't messed with me along the way. They have been the complete opposite of supporting. And because I was still in my probationary period when this person got me hurt, all the benefits and stuff I wasn't capable of getting there, right? What else? At the very least, and I know that this doesn't, I heard back when I was younger of things like this happening, but at the very least, what they could have done was said, hey, Dan, we're behind you, 100%. Because you missed open enrollment or weren't, technically qualified for open enrollment or whatever, let us pay your insurance for a year, while you get better and you heal or whatever. Nothing like that. all they've done is play games with me, and it's ridiculous. Anyway, that sparked me on something I was going to say before. What another thing that they don't tell you with these DSPs is all that stands for is delivery service provider. They are a subcontractor with Amazon, and that's how it works. So another thing they won't tell you is that yes, they do get busier shipping and delivering during the holidays. What they don't tell you is that if they don't get busy immediately before the holidays like they expect or anticipate, they start jacking with your hours. They'll put you on, what do you call it? They'll put you on an on-call basis, which means you do not get 8 hours of work. It means you sit at home or whatever, and you wait. Regardless, you're waiting for them to call you. The other thing that they don't tell you is that after the busyness starts to tail off, they cut down their staff. So it's not permanent all the time. It's not. It's these peaks and valleys of delivery times and everything. That's when they have the hiring spike, and then when it starts to dive and tail off, they're gonna let you go. What else? The training is a joke. The classroom stuff they're serious about. You can tell that it's been thought through. It's well developed. It's on point. When you get out to the other part of the onboard training where you're driving and stuff, and it's a joke. It's a joke. The vans are trashed. They're like kickbacks from Amazon, so they're already trashed. They make you do this ridiculous damage report on the van that never changes. You don't see that, you mark all this, report all this, and write it down in this app that they have, and then it comes back all fixed. That's not what happens. In fact, the van that I was in that night when I got hurt, the airbags never deployed. I had my seatbelt on because I never got out of the van. He was doing the delivery at that house, but it's not so far of a stretch to think in his mind, like I can't see either, because I know he couldn't. Nor did he get out of the van and say, hey, we both got cell phones. Let's use these as walkie-talkies. I'll back you out on the road. In fact, what happened that morning was he was so late to work, and he was supposed to be training me, that when he got there, he started speeding through all these windows on this device that they use, as many as he could skip to not have to do, so that we would be on time to be over to the warehouse to load our products and our deliveries. So that's the part that they don't show you. I'm not saying everybody does that. I'm saying he did that morning. How are you supposed to learn from that? You got 1 day with a driver trainer. You could request another day, but that didn't mean you were going to get it, which I didn't. In fact, I got hurt that night, and I went to work. I thought they were going to fire me. They didn't. I called and said, hey, do I still have a job? Can I come in tomorrow? Because honestly, there wasn't anything immediate in the next 2 days that felt like an injury to me. And then was that the third day after the accident, I woke up to my back and I couldn't get out of bed. I had to roll out of bed instead of sit up and throw my legs over. There was none of that. My back was completely screwed. Everything inside of it, as far as muscles and whatever, was pissed off and angry. And then the other thing, what was I just gonna say? Well, I'll come back. I can't remember what it was. That's the other thing I'm having problems with, is brain fog. The new attending physician that I have now, he's calling all of this post concussion stuff. I'm having a hard time I'm surprised I'm doing as well as I am now, but usually I have a hard time putting words together to make sentences, and I have a hard time concentrating and thinking about, what that even looks like. I've never had any health problems in my life. I've been happy, healthy for the most part. There's been times when I've had to work 2 or 3 jobs when I was raising my kids, and I told my wife last night, it's just really, I have a hard time accepting the fact that this is how it is. That the company and their employee, this other employee who was supposed to be training me, was supposed to be helping me, that they get off scot-free after what this has done, how it's upended my life, and I still can't work because of whatever's going on in my back. I just can't accept that that's how it is in the world, and my geographic area specifically, but maybe it is. The other thing that they won't tell you is that you have to try to get these attending physicians who are in network to help you. It's not just immediate. You have to do an interview. You have to go and talk to them. What the first one did, and I don't have a problem mentioning his name because he's a fucking asshole. He started taking the information that I was telling him, and when things didn't work out between him and I, as far as him not helping me and I fired him, he took that information and provided it to an independent medical examination that workers' comp did, or the insurance company did, and used it against me. Said this is what I was telling him a basic story about how I had to climb down from something and try to do it safely to not make my injuries worse, or fall or something and hurt something else. And he threw me under the bus. He took that information and he gave it to them and said, this is a problem. This is why he got hurt. When it couldn't be further from the truth. So realize that too, that there's a whole bunch of games going on inside of all of this. There's a whole bunch of rhetoric. There's a whole bunch of red tape. It's not the insurance company does not have your best interest in mind. That put it period to you, just like that, point blank. They don't. And I don't give a fuck what happens. I'm going to keep making these videos. I'm going to keep telling the truth because they're not. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about your progress. They're not there to help you. It's all about money. So that's the point I wanted to get across. I know, see my timer, it's going on for coming up on 30 minutes, but that was my concern. They're expanding, and people think, oh great, they're creating more jobs. Ask the questions. Stop and ask the questions like this. Think about all the different angles, because the businesses are They're thinking about what's best for them, not you. And I'm telling you, I don't know how it works in Washington, but in Oregon, there are laws that prevent you from suing your employer to get compensated, to get restitution, to get them to pay for their negligence. And the attorneys will tell you that. They'll tell you that. And in fact, one attorney told me, boy, you're up against pretty much rewriting the laws is what you need to do, and if you find anybody to help you, that's what you're up against to try to change things, because nothing, and he wouldn't touch it. He wouldn't touch it. So there you have it. I hope that y'all watch out for each other. And that's the purpose of this video, is to not to throw anybody under the bus, so to speak, but to get the information out there so that you can make an educated guess, an educated decision. What does it look like? What does it, in totality, what does it look like when I apply for a job in Oregon? I'm thinking about moving here, blah, 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 whatever. Be aware. They say buyer beware. Be aware of what you're getting yourself into that you don't know about. That's what this message is about. That's what this message is to tell you. There are things that laws that you don't know about that are protecting the employer, and they're being ridiculous. They're putting our lives in danger when they're asking us to move at these unsafe paces and deliver all these packages in a timely manner. And they're not using the programs in these devices to say, hey, watch out. Don't stay on the street, don't pull in this driveway, or this is a really bad spot. There are notes in those programs where you can leave the driver, the future drivers who have to be in that area, notes about what to expect, warnings. It's not just dogs in yards. It's, hey, can't see to back out of this driveway once you get in there. If you were there by yourself, it would be really, really difficult. I just don't know how you do that. That driveway was that bad. But like I said, he didn't get out of the vehicle and, make sure he had a clear view either. He just said, whatever, And when he did that, he put my life and his life in danger. And that's terrible. It's terrible. And his life went on. He didn't have any injuries. His life went on. He hasn't lost like I have and been through all this stress. So if you don't want to do that, be aware. Take care of each other out there, guys. Have a great day. Talk to you later.